to Bath. I'm trying it again. Welcome back to my class fanfic, and you're now entering to the world of Across the Multiverse, the NSFW side right now. Okay, so I think we're about to explain right now because we're doing the next victim I'm about to do, and it's NSFW. So next thing I'm gonna read, King of Fools Part 2. So this is the second part of the one that I read before called The King of Fools. I read the part 1. Yeah, I'm not realizing that there's like a crime family in Lance and there's Undercover Key, and I already gave you the first part of that one. I already pre I pre-made that one for you, so that I don't have to read it again just for no other else. Okay, so now that you're ready about it, now that you're already caught up with the part 1, and if you don't know what the part 1 is, you should probably going to read it first before do something. So we're on to the part 2, and I'm about to read that one. Oh, by the way, this is iced tea. Yeah, it's an iced tea. Bird brushing. It's a sweet tea. I love the sweet tea. Okay. Anyways, I did not realize that the title of the fic called King of Fools. That was the part 1 that I just read. So this right here is the part 2. So this is the continuation of this story. So it's crime family lands just for we have Undercover Key. There's some dirty talking. There's some that. There's the BS involved. There's power play themes. Some that one. And it's top lands and bottom key. All right. So I'm gonna read the summary just for the reminder what it is. Okay. Lance, the youngest son of the rich, famous, and infamous McClain family. To the public, they're upper-class business tycoons. To anyone who knows any better, they're crime lords, holding most of the city in the palm of their hands. Lance, the youngest, the pretty boy, the charming one, the one without a mind for business who really takes things seriously, both with a silver spoon in his mouth and the world at his feet. Yeah. And for those who work for him know better, they know of his shrewd eyes and keen mind. He sees everything, knows everything. Can't pick out a mole from a mile away. The streets are his territory, and he is king. The problem? Turns out he's also the king of fools, having fallen for an undercover cop. And that undercover cop is Keith, so we should check on that one. So yeah, this is just the part 2. And we're curious what the part 1 of that big is just a big reminder. So this is the part 1, and I read that already. So yeah. So Keith's job is to go undercover and infiltrate the organization that the McClain family have because they're the part of the crime. James and got some little info and just get out. And Keith had considered becoming a good cop and becoming a good cop. And he wanted to just make sure proud because of that little organization they have. He's part of the little police. But he must be the king of fools because his job doesn't include becoming the bodyguard for the youngest McClain son, that's Lance. And include becoming favorite and definitely does include bends over and sprayle, which is what that one is. Having the can and bringing himself to the mind. So this is Keith's point of view. Cool. So if you like down next chapter. So this is Keith's point of view. This is Keith's part. Now we're on to Lance's part because I read that because because you heard me reading this one with you fools. That's just the part 1, and I'm probably missing out. And yeah, there's some uncensored ones right there for the part 1. Just so Sorry for that. Now we're on to the part two, and this here is Lance's point of view. This is Lance. Okay, I kind of want to stop talking right now about this King Fu stuff. Let's just get going and hit the part two. So we've done Keith's point of view, and now we're on to Lance's point of view. So here we are. We're getting to some moments to see what's like in that family. What's this?
Warning, this one-shot is not suitable for those under 18. Listen at your own risk.
King of Fools, Part 2. The city lights glare like gold, shining gleams in the sea of darkness below, sparkling, shimmering. The streets flow like veins of silver, circling and spiraling around the heart of the city. And above, the stars twinkle like diamonds caught in the wet of night. Lance has a perfect view of it all from his penthouse suite. He stands with his arms crossed over his chest, leaning against the wall of glass. He gazes out over the sea below him, the sector of the city that he and his family control. All this glittering gold held firmly in the palms of their hands, but his thoughts are distant. Because despite what many might think, Lance McClain is not a fool. He'll play the part, he'll smile, and he'll grin. His posture isn't as stiff as Lewis's. His glare isn't as intense as Veronica's. His tongue isn't as sharp as Rachel's. He's not as shrewd as Marco. He's not his mama, and he's not his papa. He doesn't carry an aura of intensity and fear around with him. He doesn't incite nervousness in the ranks. Doesn't demand respect. Doesn't walk around in a business suit. Doesn't wail his family name like a smoking gun. But when he walks into a room, they all go quiet. It's a respect he's earned. Those who work under him know it, have seen it, follow him because they know what he can do, are loyal to him because they've seen him in action. He's proven himself, trailed by blood, and he has the scars to prove it, hidden beneath casual clothes he wears. He's seen as the weak link of the family, the goofball, the slacker, the idiot. He plays into it, lets it happen. After all, better for him if they underestimate him. After all, his family knows better. Anyone worth their salt in an organization, his ancestors built knows better. Because Lance, he has the streets in his pocket. Down there, in the nitty-gritty darkness, in the dirt and grime beneath the glittering lights, that's Lance's domain. And the people down there respect him. He's one of them. Takes care of them, fights with them, protects them. They're loyal to the McClain name because of him, and his family knows it. They know the very foundation of their power hinges on the youngest son. It's not advertised, it's a well known family secret. And he got this far by not being a fool. It's in his eyes. Beyond the laugh lines, little gazes and smirks, lies a shroud gaze, observation. He sees everything, even the things people wish he didn't, the things that people think are carefully hidden. Lance knows people. He knows emotions. He knows what drives hearts and makes brains tick. He's gotten this far and lived this long and grown his family's power because he can read people. That's also why he's so integral to social events. The shining face of the McClain family doesn't have a head for business, but is a glittering socialite. Always goes to galas and parties and dinners. Snakes through the crowd with a charming smile on his lips and picks apart the lies and intentions with a sharp blue gaze his mama gave him. But that's not the point. The point is that Lance McClain isn't a fool. He knew from the beginning that Keith was a cop. From the moment he strolled on into the organization at street level, thick brows furrowed in his purse, posture cocked with a chip on his shoulder, glare and attitude defiant, and yet appropriately respectful. He'll admit he is good. He doesn't scream cop the same way a lot of the other moles do. He's not overly stiff, not hesitant on the draw, doesn't have that hard on for authority the same way cops tend to. He's got that chip on his shoulder, got that rough attitude, got that posture of a kid who grew up on the streets, the wary, sharp eyes of someone who knows what they're doing. He's the first to have a weapon in hand, deals out hits as good as he takes them, doesn't beg or kick butt for a rise in power, doesn't even look like he wants it. He just earns it by being the right levels of loyal, frank, rough, and cunning. Lance's pretty sure no one else sees it. He's just that good. Sheds his cop skin like a damn snake and slips into a underground like a man reborn. But Lance is better. He can see the chips in the armor. The eyes that are a little too keen. The barely there wince at violence. The slight stagger relief when they detect innocence. The way he watches Lance as sharply as Lance watches him. It's subtle, but it's there. The thin threads of that cop uniform that Keith Shirley used to wear. Lance can sniff it out like a trained bloodhound. Now Lance isn't a fool. It all started as a game. Keep your enemies close and all that. He wanted to see how far he could push this pig in Wolf's clothing. Wanted to push his buttons just to see how he would react. Wanted to figure out what made him tick and how far Lance could push him before he broke. It didn't break. Not in the way Lance expected. He pushed back, stood his ground, and most unexpectedly of all, there was a spark. The goddamn infuriating spark. Because Keith isn't just hot, he's got that something. That's something that keeps Lance interested. That makes his stupid heart stumble and beat just a little faster. Makes him hop beneath the collar. Makes his palms sweat. Makes his eyes follow him around the crowded room when he should be paying attention and playing his part. Everything was fine and dandy when this was all just physical. When Lance could just have his fun and mess an undercover cop. Keep him at his side, as his plaything, as his favorite and prettiest toy. All consensual, of course. He's a crime lord, but he's not a monster. He's definitely wanted to play with Keith, but he made sure to draw the lines out first. Make sure it was okay with Lance getting his hands all over that tight bunny. Surprisingly, he was. Even more surprising, Lance enjoyed it. He enjoyed it a lot. And Keith enjoyed it too. Far beyond what he should if he were just using the whole flip bodies thing to rise up the ranks. The most surprising, however, is that Lance stopped playing with all his other toys. All his other flip buddies, none of them are interesting when Pete is right there, outshining them all. Doesn't care about any of them. When he could have Pete moaning and ripping at him, all blush and pretty. Just add a cherry on top. Keith is not the best lay Lance has ever had, but he also the best dang bodyguard. Loyal to a fault, fears to protect, follows Lance and his ideas just about everywhere. He's not just as Lance's side to flip him, but because he does his stupid job right. Lance McClain isn't a fool. Can't see what's happening. He's dangerous. Not because he's a cop, but because he's somehow gone and started burning so to Lance's heart. And that is a problem. A big flipping problem. A big flipping problem that Lance doesn't want to deal when he could be flipping the problem instead. He sighs, pushing out the window and stepping away from the city view. It's pretty and all, but he has something prettier waiting for him in his bed. He passes through the kitchen, tiles cold against bare feet. He hums as he goes, hips swing idly with the music he waves. As he nears the bedroom, the sound of buzzing grows louder. A soft hum of vibrations to add an underlayer to his melody. And the soft gasps and shaky moans? Music, really. He pauses in the doorway, leaning a hip against the frame, eyes ranking over the sights before him. Keith, stripped bare and tied up. The silky red rope is tied intricately around his body, pinning calves to thighs, hands stuck behind his back. A silk ribbon is tied around his eyes. A ball gag sitting pretty between the reddened lips. It sits so pretty, riffing and shaking. Muffled moans pleading for Lance to come back. Lance McClain isn't a fool. He smiles all the same. He's not sure he can pinpoint when it started, when things started to shift beyond the physical and saw into something dangerous. But if he had to guess, it would have been several months ago, when Keith gave him his real name. It had been unexpected, a little shocking, given that Lance had been missing him over his desk at the time, but sweet all the time. Such relief. It was a moment of vulnerability, and the implications of it didn't get past him. He knew what that moment meant. He wanted Lance to call him by his real name as he fricked him. Agreed to let Lance call him by that name when they're alone. He wanted to hear his name properly rolled off Lance's tongue, not some alias he uses in the underground. The implications are dangerous. Lance can deny how he had melted in that moment. Wanted to wrap up Keith in his arms, mess him hard, and never let him go. In that moment, it was clear that he wanted this, what they're doing, to be real. And Lance refuses to admit the fact that he might want the same, because he's not a fool. And only a fool would let that admission slip. Only a fool would feel it in the first place. Things worsened for a while. Something shifted, changed. For the worse, and then for the better. He's not sure what happened. He never confided in him. But for a time, the lights in Keith's eyes went dark. A dreary cloud followed him around. He brought it in silence. His eyes were distant. It hit harder, was quicker to anger, fought like an animal gone rabbit, and then went still and silent as a stone guardian at Lance's side. Even when Lance touched him, he couldn't be reached. And for a while, Lance had thought that would be the end of them, end of this. But then Keith came back to him. That light was ignited once more, blazing hot and bright. When he met Lance's gaze, the intensity in his eyes was enough to burn. He stayed closer to Lance's side, touched him like a man's star, threw himself so wholly into his work, into his moments with Lance, that Lance realized what had been missing in those weeks, where he had been dark. His heart. His heart had been missing, and now he throws all of it into what he does, into Lance, protecting him, touching him. All the secret moments stolen, hot and heavy, quiet and still, soft and tender, rough and fast. He's not sure what happened, what changed, but he's found himself caught up in the absolute whirlwind that is Keith, unable to make heads or tails of it, unable to stop himself from aching and speeding toward the dangerous end. He's falling hard. He's falling fast. He's absolutely no flipping idea how to stop the decisive move and keep from his life. And like hell, he's going to do that. Not when he looks so pretty like this. Head turned towards him as Lance sits on the bed at his side. Not when he looks at Lance so sweetly as he removes the mask. Eyes watering, pupils blown, desperate and pleading, and yet burning with a hunger that sends shivers down his spine. Now when Lance removes the ball again, slowly asks, "What's your color, baby?" He gave us green, voice husky needy, but strong with absolute conviction, rolling off his tongue like a dang challenge when he's the one tied up under Lance's control. So, yeah, Lance McClain is in the pool. He knows exactly what sort of stuff he's getting into. He knows exactly how much he's playing with fire right now. He's just not sure he's strong enough to stop. People think that this story was really over, but it's not. We still got a lot of ways to go. This is just the part where Keith and where Lance meet Keith together. There's this undercover stuff, and oh yeah, Lance is not a fool. He's not a fool of everything because he's been controlling this one. He's the youngest of all. And now when Keith is just been down and Lance has been taking over all this not damage or territory. Yeah, Lance got the power of just doing whatever the heck he wants. Well, that's all I just want to say, and I have nothing else to just go further than that. But let's just go to the flip side and see what happens. Okay, I need a moment. Lance! Veronica goes by the shop. Lance is finished. Are you even listening? He's leaning back in his chair, twisted sideways to prop his feet up on one corner of his desk. Ankles crossed. His elbows rest on the arms of his chairs. Fingers steeple and intertwined, daily cracking his knuckles. Head to the back, stare at the ceiling. He hums. Of course I am. He sighs, more exasperated and frustrated. I wish you'd take this more seriously. I am, Ronnie, he says, voice hard and eyes as he picks apart the scene's house. You could at least act like it. He then rolls his head aside, shooting her in supple smile. I'm the sibling who's supposed to act like nothing is ever wrong. Remember? The airhead, the baby, the fool? Lance, she says flatly, crossing her arms over her chest and leaning heavy against his chest. You know, none of that is true. He shrugs. I know, but have a clean smug poker face. Forgive me if I'm not freaking out. She pauses, leaning his gaze. Shrewd blue eyes, a shade lighter than his own, pick him apart, searching for something, putting pieces together. You already know, she says slowly. He shrugs again, lips tugging the corners. How long have you known? For a while. He shoots her cocky ring. One hand drops to dangle over the arm of his chair, while the other falls to his desk, daily tapping a finger against the pristine wood. You don't think a mole can get into my ranks without me noticing, do you? She sighs once more, shaking his head. So you know who it is? I have some suspicions. I'm keeping an eye on the situation. We'll keep a closer eye then. Information's still leaking to both the cops and the Gora. I know, he says softly, goes hard. Let me handle this. All right, she pushes off the desk and straightens her sleeves. But if a job is ruined by cop interference, I'm stepping in. Fine, fine. As she leaves, Lance tilts his head back against the final letter of his chair, narrowing his eyes once more at the Seaman's house. He's not a fool. He knows who the mole is. But he's also not going to tell Veronica it's key. Can't tell anyone. He'll handle this himself. He's just not quite sure how. Not when his stupid heart is getting in the way. As Veronica slips out the door, another figure slips in, shutting gently behind him. He pauses there, and Lance can feel his eyes on him, but he doesn't look, doesn't make eye contact. Isn't sure what his face will say. Something wrong, he says after a moment. Voice quiet and wearing his hands nervous. Something always wrong, Lance counters. A shrug sliding his shoulders along the left. This office of his might as well be new. He rarely uses it, prefers not to. It's the stuffy atmosphere of the offices. This is different, he pushes. He chins up at it. But there's definitely confidence in the way he pries to Lance's business. A confidence he shouldn't have. Lance has nothing to gain. When Lance doesn't say anything, he tries to. Is there anything I can do? Distract me. It's order, firm, and resolute. But he can't deny that it's also a plea. Somewhere beneath his casual indifference, beneath the tone of lazy command that he's perfected over the years, is something tired and desperate, begging Keith to take his mind far away from where it dwells, away from work, away from his job, away from thoughts of Keith's inevitable betrayal, how Lance will have to deal with it, away from the files laid open and strewn about on his desk, detailing Goro moments and information gathered. For a moment, he wants to forget it all. Just be Keith and Lance. Lance and Keith. And Keith understands. He reaches behind himself to suddenly turn a lock. Lance listens to him pad across the room with quiet footfalls, only looking at him when Keith steps up beside him. Hands reach out to his chair, gently urging it to turn. Lance lets him, his feet dropping to the floor. And then he slides into Lance's lap, his leather chair creaking as Keith's weight settles on his thighs, knees bracketing his hips, hands sliding up his chest, rough in front to feel the muscles beneath, before settling on his shoulders. Keith's eyes are on him, lit and dark, beautiful as their indigo depths sparkle in the afternoon sunlight that streams through the blinds. His brows are pinched just slightly, lips pursed with a steady look of determination. Lance often sees a similar expression take hold right before a job, but this is softer, heated, needy. He feels his lips tugging into a smirk as his head rests on thick thighs, tight with muscle beneath the fabric of his jeans. It's funny, really, how far they've come. From Lance having his fun with Keith, poking, prodding, and dragging him into these situations, reaching out and touching him on a whim, trusting that despite Keith's hesitance, he wanted it too. So now, where confidence has started to creep under Keith's skin, allowing him to be bolder and more resolute. The ease with which he reaches for Lance, the moment Lance gives him the green light. The subtle tug of his lips is the sun that radiates a smell of pride at having this effect on Lance, at being able to do this. Like he knows that he's the only Lance wants. Like he knows he can get away with this. The infuriating, smug, flipping, gorgeous little devil. And just like the little devil he is, he starts rocking on Lance's lap, grinding down, urging Lance to match his pace with these soft little pans and low moans until Lance adjusts to their position. Let them die to give Kate something more concrete to grind against. He leans back in his chair, eyes lit and staring against his slacks, absolutely enraptured by the beauty that is Keith's flushed face, parted lips, eyes squeezed shut and brows furrowed, head tossed back as his hips rock hard and fast against Lance's side. His hands curl into Lance's shoulders, nails biting through his shirt. Hmm, Lance on his little. Thought you were supposed to be distracting me, not pleasuring yourself. Because that's what he's doing, really. Chasing his own pleasure. Using Lance McClain as his own personal toy. And dang, that is the little thrill that Lance wasn't expecting. What's even more thrilling is the way those pretty lips tug into a cocky little smile. The way Keith's head falls forward, dark hair showering dark eyes. The way he leans into Lance, bodies pressed flush as he continues to grind against him. The way his arms slide around Lance's neck and he presses him close. Breath brushing across Lance's lips and making him tilt his chin up to chase the sensation as it whispers, with complete confidence. You think watching me get off in your lap is very distracting. And damn, he's right. Smug little. And his fingers snap the open bottom of Keith's jeans. Because the guy wears skin tight pants and is only complaining because he can't easily get inside it. This and slips his hands past his waistband, fingers curling around his butt and using the leverage to help him along. They get off together, just like that, grinding against each other like a couple of desperate horny teens. Dry humping right there in Lance's rarely used arms. It is pristine, good as in a leather chair, softly panting in the morning while others go about their business just beyond the door, chasing the friction and their pleasure until they're both finding release, warm and sticky without bothering to keep it clean. It's filthy, it's messy, and Lance doesn't care. Now when Keith is boneless and pretty in his lap, head tucked beneath his chin, soft breath bending across his collarbones. He's not sure how long they stay like that, lost in the haze of the high, gently drifting downward. Keith's eyes are on the files on his desk, but he doesn't really care. It's all info on the car game, after all. Let him see. Let him share that info with the police. Lance doesn't give a damn. He's content to let his eyes close, hands illly rubbing up and down Keith's back until Keith's stiffening, breath sucking in, sharp and fast. Lance's eyes snap open, looking down and following Keith's gaze where it's locked on the open file. His hands are frozen where he had moved some papers aside, revealing a dark and grainy picture of a man. Whew, he breathes. It's only that Lance notices his hands are shaking, his entire body shaking. Not sure, Lance says, slow and fierce. We've only heard of him being called the champion. Some of the Gara have down in their vitamins. Kate's breath comes shallow and ragged, and Lance's arms wrap insanely around him, one arm tight. Why? I I know him. Lance's eyes narrow on a blurred picture. He'll admit there's some familiar about it, vaguely, but isn't certain. Lance had brushed off the first time he seen it and hadn't thought twice about it until now. You do? Please, Keith says, voice shaking. Hands current to Lance's shirt until his knuckles go white. Please, please, we have to save him. Get him out. Please. His face was round. Gaze ripping away from the picture to pin Lance with wild, desperate eyes, classic with abilities. Keith, I'll do anything. Anything. He swallows thickly, voice hurting. Please, Lance. Something in his gut sours. Something twisting as a strange sense of dread closes his shoes. Why? He asked lowly, voice fairly even and modern. What is he to you? A boyfriend? A lover? Is this all he has in his real life? Away from this illusion he's built? Someone who means more to Keith than Lance ever could? Someone who has a real claim on this beautiful man's heart? My brother, he whispers, a tear breaking free to slide over one cheek. He's my brother. Keith, why? Why are you giving all this information away? You're an undercover cop, and you're supposed to be undercover. Oh, right. Lance had caught him in the act. And this doesn't go as well as planned for Keith, but Lance just taken over, and he'll be on his way. Oh, right. I forgot that you're not seeing me on the camera. Let me. Everything that I explained to you guys, it's very insane because this is like an action, but this is also the erotic in action at the same time. So you'll get the point of this part too. This is the second part of this fic, as you already know. Okay, so I kind of want to back up for a little bit. I'm just gonna move on and let him have it. Lance McClain is not a fool. Lance McClain is not a fool. But as he sits in the waiting room of the small, privately owned hospital, specifically for treating those who work for his family, standing across the hall and through the doorway of the recovery room, the kid's talking to his brother. Lance can't help but think that maybe, perhaps, there's a possibility he might be a fool. He's sunken low in the chair, long legs spread and stretched out in front of him. One elbow on the arm of the chair and his cheek pressed up against his knuckles. His eyes are dry, burning from the lack of sleep, and the fluorescent lights. But that doesn't stop him from staring, near unblinkingly, at Keith's back. He shouldn't even be out of bed yet. But the guy is as stubborn as he is handsome and selfless, and loyal to a dang fault. Lane's gaze lingers over the bandages wrapped around his bare torso. The portable ivy is still attached to his arm. Yet he sits there it doesn't bother him. In the seat next to his brother's hospital bed, Lance can't see their faces, nor can hear their voices. He wishes he could. He's really freaking glad he can't. Argon drops into next to him, wordlessly passing over cup. He takes it gratefully, cradling his hands to enjoy the warmth. You look like crap. Lance hubs, saying drown. Wow. Thanks, sis. She hums, taking a sip of her coffee. I heard you got out of there pretty unscathed. He shrugs, feeling the dull ache of summers. Nothing but some scrapes and bruises. He lifts his cup an inch, gesturing toward the room. Thanks to him. Jumps. And he knows what's coming for, he says. That's Takashi Shirogane. I know. Former chief of police of the local precinct until it experienced several months ago. I know. Adopted older brother to one detective, Keith Kagani. His fingers tighten around the warmth of his cop top, jaw clenching against his secret. Veronica, he says, Veronica. It's purple. He sees her turn to look at him, but he keeps eyes on the road. After a moment of consideration, she says softly, "You knew. I didn't know his brother was Takashi Shirogane. I didn't know Shirogane was the champion, so we were already dragging him out of here. But you know he was a mole." His jaw aches. His head hurts. His mouth is burned. His body exhausted from a sleepless night spent sitting in this chair and pacing the hall as Keith's wounds were attended to. "I've been keeping an eye on the situation. Lance, Veronica, Lance, look." He turns to face her, and he can feel his mask crack, just around the edges, just around his eyes, letting some of his turmoil bleed through. He's always been close to Veronica and then his other students. She gets him in ways the others don't. She trusts him in ways the others don't. And just as she meets his gaze, he can see that she understands. Just, he takes a deep, shaky breath. "Let me handle it, okay?" She's quiet for a moment, brows furrow and lips pursed into a tight frown. But eventually, finally, she says, "Just be careful. I don't want to see you hurt." I knew what this was. That didn't stop me from getting attached. I just, he saved my life. The rescue job was a mess. The guard knew they were coming and were prepared for it. Getting their favorite fighters out of there wasn't an easy task. Things got messy, chaotic. Shots were fired, fists thrown, and knives wielded. Some of this man died. He was nearly one of them. He always knew that his hubris would be the end of him one day, and staring at the barrel of a gun, he had accepted his end with a sense of wry amusement until Keith took the shot for him. Keith, who could have already gotten out, who could have taken his brother and ran, who could have let Lance just fall and cut time to get out of this job clean. Keith, who was a damn police plant and shouldn't be taking his job of bodyguard so seriously. But he does, because that's who he is. Stupid, stubborn, hot-headed, selfless, loyal to a fault. Nearly getting himself killed for a man he's not actually supposed to care about. A man who's just supposed to be a job to him. Flippin' Keith. At his side, Veronica sighs, reaching out to take one of his hands in hers. She squeezes gently, and he holds it tight. "Whatever you decide to do, I'll stand with you. I trust your judgment." He squeezes his eyes shut. "I wish I did." Wow, so that's good. So this is after all this one. He just now in the hospital. But I mean, how could Lance be such a fool? But he's not that much of a fool, was he? And then later on, he will be the fool later on. He's doing this for everybody now. Everybody's now coming after him. This is but because Lance has been cared for Key for God knows how long. But that's the point of it. That's the point. Okay, let's uh let's get this thing going. Where someone gets here. Alexa, stop. Lance McClain is a fool. Officially, he'll wear the crown. King of Fools. The youngest child of the powerful McClain family. Born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Raised in a criminal empire, yet not at all fit for it. Because he let himself go, catching feelings for an undercover cop. He's always prided himself on being sharper than most gave him credit for, being able to outwit his opponents, out-strategize his enemies. He's always been observant, cold, and while he knows he's a secret romantic at heart, that heart has been locked away tight. He can't have it getting in the way, not until the real deal comes along, like his mom and dad, romance for the ages, and a good match. He always hoped he'd find a love like that, one that made him weak at the knees but strong in heart, mind, and backbone. He just never thought it would be a cop who would crawl over his maximum security defenses to claim his heart. And the worst thing, Lance does think it's a fluke. He thinks this might actually be that romance he's always hoped and dreamed for. Keith might actually be the real deal. He's just also a cop, and that puts a big damper on things, doesn't it? God, Lance really is a fool, huh? They curl up in his bed as the gray of dawn peeks through the curtains of the floor lamp windows. The city still sleeps below in the early morning light, but Lance hasn't been able to sleep at all. You can probably count the hours he's gotten the past 2 weeks on two hands. His head just stop, won't stop going a million miles a minute. A whirlwind of thoughts, doubts, nerves, hopes. He's a damn mess and he knows it. And it's starting to show. His movements are getting sluggish, shoulders set in a near permanent hunch. He's irritable and prone to snapping, trading in his casual smart for a glare and frown that sends his underlying scurrying. His skin is suffering. He's given up trying to hide the bags under his eyes. And it's all Keith's fault. Pretty perfect, loyal, and infuriatingly bad for him. Keith Kagani. Because that's his name. Keith Kagani. One of the city's detectives. About a little brother to the city's former chief of police. Not Akira, as everyone here knows him by. Lance is a damn mess. He's in a mess. He made this mess and he's definitely rotting in it. He looks so peaceful lying in his bed. No, who the hell is he kidding? They're bad. At start as Lance to keep over for bodyguard purposes, which were really let frick purposes, until it just became a thing. Until Keith's scattered few possessions started just permanently existing in the penthouse suite. Until his favorite foods started filling up in the cabinets. Until he stopped waiting for Lance to buy him up. Until he started carrying around a key of his own and flopping onto the bed every night without any sort of resistance. He had basically moved in before either of them really processed what that might mean. And he looks so at home here, curled up on his side, inky black hair spilling out over the pillows, wrapped up in a luxurious silk shades of color midnight blue, lips parted and face laxly. He looks perfect there, like he belongs here, and Lance loves the look on him. Their legs are tangled together, but Lance keeps their bodies separate. He's propped up on his elbow, turned on his side to gaze down at the man sleeping peacefully beside him, completely unaware that Lance is watching him. He's been watching him every night for the past week. His bruises are healing, fading from a grotesque purple to a sickly yellow. They mar his pretty porcelain skin, but don't make him uglier for it. They're proof of his strength, of his loyalty, of the fact that he saved Lance's life. Lance's fingers trail lightly down Keith's torso, coasting over the splotch patches and hovering over his new scar. A small pucker of skin from a gunshot took for Lance, and Lance still doesn't know why. Neither Keith nor Cheryl have made any move to get out from under the McClain Organization. Lance has been watching. He has been watching so flippant closely for any sign of betrayal. Any little inkling that his heart will be broken, he'll have to don his jester hat as the family fool. So far, nothing. Nothing. Cher has been recovering, holed up in one of their facilities. He has information about the Gara. He seems eager to share. The only thing that stops him is his own PTSD response, which he's working through. With somehow that Lance is willing to provide, especially when he looked at him with big white hopeful eyes. He's a fool. But Cher hasn't made any move to escape his, not quite still, but sort of captivity under the McClains. Has there any move to contact the police? And neither has he. At most, he just has to visit Cher often. Lance goes with him, watches from afar, listens to him whisper, and waits for the day those whispers turn to betrayal. Only for it not to happen. Day after day, they go about their business. They visit Cheryl. They come home. Lance misses him quick and hard, long and slow, desperate and rough. Like it's the last time he'll get to bury himself in that tight, hot body, only for it to not be the last. He's growing tired, exhausted of the anticipation, of constantly being wound tight and tense from uncertainty and doubt. There's only so much a man can take. and Lance has reached his breaking point. His hand slides down, shifting the sheets as he throws a leg over Keith's hips, locking him even as he hasn't yet shifted his weight. He shifts closer, hands slipping up the familiar body that he loves so much to settle his palm against his throat, slender fingers wrapping loosely around his neck. Keith, baby, Lance whispers, voice pitched low, rumbling and hoarse from being silent through the night. His thumb gently moves along Keith's arm, caressing as his pressure pinches, eyes flickering beneath his lids as he rouses. Wake up, Red, and I'm sorry. We got some things to talk about. Pretty dark eyes flicker open, blinking blearily and unfocused as he tilts his head, brows furrow as their gaze meet. Lance? His voice is thick and slowly, gravely in a way that has he coiled along Lance's back. Morning, babe. His thumb moves to press against his bum, watching as his mouth parts so willingly, inviting in. So pretty, so pliant, so unbelievably frustrating. Kate's eyes flicker between his own, gaining clarity as the seconds expire. Brown fur and deeper. What's wrong? He asks, kind of right to the point. Perceptive, isn't he? That's always like that about him. Keith has always been able to read him like a book. Never lands perfectly crafted mask getting away. He always makes him feel seen, for better or for worse. Lance thinks he might love him, which just complicates the hell out of things, doesn't it? Everything, Lance growls, jaw clenched. Now the Keith's fully awake. Lance shifts his weight, pushes up onto his knees, and straddles Keith's hips. Gets to watch his eyes go wide as Lance rises above him. Weight settling on his lips, pin him to the mattress. While still dazed as rise, Lance grabs both his wrists with one hand, pinning them above his head while his other hand lays across his throat, not squeezing, but definitely threatening. They've been rough before. He likes it when Lance manhandles him, uses him, treats him like a personal brick toy before hammering him to hell and back. They're not new to rough, not new to dabbling in BDSM themes. The key is perceptive, and he can tell that things aren't right. There's a shift in the atmosphere. That Lance isn't just messing around. That this isn't meant to be sexy. You can see in the way Keith's eyes widen. The glamour of his wearing a shattering surprise. A spark of what might just be fear. Could. Let him be afraid. Lance has been scared for months. Everything is wrong. Lance says, his fingers tighten just a little at the side of his neck. He can feel Keith's abs apple bob against the palm of his hand. I know what you are, Keith. I know who Shiro is. I know you're a gosh darn cop. Keith's quiet for a moment, eyes flickering between Lance's. He can read the fear now, clear as day. Along with the surprise, the wariness, the nervousness, the guilt. He licks his lips, and Lance does his damnedest not to stare. How long? He whispers, lips curling to a sneer, and tightening. The pads of his fingers press into that pretty neck of his. There's pressure at his throat, but Lance knows better than to bruise his esophagus. No, he's not here to hurt Keith. Not like that. Doesn't think he has it in him. But rat on him? Definitely. Cut off the circulation and make him lightheaded. Sadly but frighteningly remind him just who the hell he's dealing with. You're good, Red, but you're not that good. You fooled everyone else. I could see in you the moment you walked in. And yet Lance still ended up the fool. Kate swallows, voice hurts when he speaks. You, but you, we, I freaked you. Yes, a lot. Of it. You're hot as hell, babe, and I enjoyed it immensely. He says it, almost wistful, but unable to control the hard edge of his frustration, or to bite venom in his tongue. This was supposed to be easy. Play with a cop, mess a cop, catch him before he does anything too damning to us. He grits his teeth, grip tightly, nails biting Keith's wrist. But it's not flippin' easy, because I can't figure out what game you're playing, Kagani. Keith's mouth works, lips parted and gasping. He manages a few quotes. I don't. I'm not. Bull crap! I know you're a cop. I know that you're here undercover. And I know that you're only in my bed because you thought it'd be an easy way to get in with my family. Well, guess what? It worked. You made a fool out of me. I've gone and fricked myself over by catching feelings. You got the youngest McClain wrapped around your pretty little shriveled finger. Congratulations. What I can't figure out is why you won't pull the trigger. Lance, I, he gasps as Lance grew tense. Eyes grown close. Beneath him, Lance can feel him ripping, body fighting. But Lance holds him down. He feels his own body shaking. He can hear how thick his voice is beneath the sharp bite. He can feel the burn behind his eyes, but he refuses to acknowledge any of it. I'm tired of waiting for you to betray me. You have plenty of opportunities to get out. You could have let me die and be rid of this whole problem. But then you went and saved me. Nearly died for me. I can't figure out why. He leans down, lips twisted in the heart near him, jaw clenched to fight to keep the emotions banging around his rib cage in check. He gets right up in Keith's face and hisses, sharp mouth. Why are you still here? He watched Keith's face soften the shock as a single tear lands on his cheek. He watched it with an odd sense of surreal detachment, unaware that it had been forming, unable to grasp that it came from himself. And then he watches Keith's shock harden to twist into something angry, stubborn, determined, fierce. It burns in his eyes at his feet implanted and hips bucking hard. Lance starts with force with it, grip loosened just enough for Keith to rip his wrist free. Hands grabbing Lance's arm and nails biting into flesh. And the world is spinning. He ends up with his face pressed to the soft sheets, Keith's weight settling heavy on his lower back. Perched on his butt, legs locking Lance down. One arm is twisted behind his back. The sharp pain shoots up the length of it. The other is pinned by his head by a steel grip. Above him, Keith breathes low and heavy. And when Lance struggles to break free, Keith's grip tightens. Body stealing into iron above him, unyielding, unbreakable, shackling him to the bed with his own weight and carefully positioned limbs. And as Lance pants, body relaxing as he relaxes, it's useless. A thrill surges through his veins. Part fear, part excitement, part desire, part respect, and hell of a lot of understanding. Isn't Keith fight before? Plenty of times. Seeing the way he uses his body, using every inch of himself as an extension of his weapon. Keith is lethal. Firm training mixed with an innate intuition for survival. Keith is lethal. Firm training mixed with an innate intuition for survival. He knows he is strong and knows that he's capable. It's never been that Lance underestimated him. It's just easy to forget when he's had keeping beneath him and stuffed bullets more times than you can count. He's always known that he's only gotten away with manhandling him because Keith gave his consent. But the full weight of it really dawns on him. The full realization that it isn't just consent, Keith fully submits to him, allows Lance to move him and mess him how he wants. Because when it comes down to it, he's stronger. He's better at hand-to-hand combat. He could easily flip the script if he ever wanted to. But until his moment, he never has. Because he likes Lance taking charge, likes it when Lance is in control. And Lance has only ever been in control of their sex life because he allowed it. And damn if that doesn't make it harder. Damn him. F you, he says, tilting his head to glare up at Keith as best as he stayed. Keith scowls right back, tight gripping on his arm and forced the ankle just enough to cause another little shockwave of pain. F you, Lance McClain. Effing is what got us into this in the first place, he says, lip curling into a sardonic sneer. No, he snaps, sharp stern. What got us into this? His nails biting to Lance's bare flesh. Is you jumping to conclusions. What the hell conclusions am I supposed to jump to? Lance spits, frustration simmering beneath his skin. He starts to struggle once more, if only because he feels restless and agitated and wants Keith to know it. It hurts, and Keith relents, but Lance does tough. You're a dang undercover cop, a mole. You were using me. Just like you been using me, he barks out. Voice crackling immediately on the last word. He's breathing heavily. Lance kicks his chest with every breath. When he continues, his voice is low, a growl, but it doesn't quite mask the layer of raw hurt that he lets seep through. Playing with me like this is a game. Lance helps fight drain out of him as his body goes limp in Keith's hold. As much as he hates to admit it, he's gotten him there. He knew that, of course, but his own emotions kind of take the forefront. But thinking about it now, guess they're both a little guilty on the whole, using each other front, huh? Oh, great. Now I feel frustrated and guilty. But Keith's right. Lance did start this as a game. A way to play with a hot cup and keep him close. You can't really fault Keith for using him right back. So hurts like a biatch, though. Especially when feelings got involved. Bastards. He's so lost in this little revelation, sorting through the new onslaught of emotion that he barely hears Keith's voice when he whispers, soft and hoarse, I'm not a cop anymore. But he does hear them, and after taking a second to process them, Lance goes softening him. What? He breathes, tilting his head to look up at Keith with a confused furrow to his brows. Keith sighs, head falling forward and back bowing. His head rests atop Lance's crown, hair falling to hide his face's marks. I quit months ago, but Shiro went missing. His grip tightens for a moment, before going relaxed. Hands still in place, but no longer holding. He went MIA on a job, along with Pitchy Butter. I heard it from them. No one else was even going to tell me. Lance can tell this is hard for Keith. His voice is hoarse and thick with emotion, hands suddenly trembling. But Lance has asked important questions here. Who the hell is Pitch? Keith sighs, but it wavers like a gruff chuckle. Lance can feel his chest shiver. A friend at the precinct, data collector. Best freaking hacker you'll ever meet. We were sure it was God behind Cheryl and Matt's disappearance, but no one will listen. They brush us off, rush the funeral, and moved on like nothing happened. It didn't feel right, and Lance lays still beneath him, not struggling despite the fact that he'd been released. He's intrigued, enraptured, curious, unable to stop the bright spark of hope catching his chest. And Keith's breath tickles the back of Lance's neck and goes, Cher's the only reason a deadbeat kid like me would become a cop in the first place. He sighs, shifting his weight until he's sitting upright on the floor, still straddling Lance's waist. He moves his hands away from Lance's wrists, shifting his legs so they're no longer being him down. If it didn't feel right without him, and what happened didn't sit right with me, I quit. I walked out. If it got into the database to remove any trace of me going undercover here. My record is clean, and they can't use anything against me. Lance begins to shift, slowly to test the waters. Keith lets him, rising up on his knees to allow Lance enough room to roll over beneath it. He settles on his back, and Keith settles back down on his lap. Like this, Lance can finally see his face fully. He can see every crack and wound that he bears in his heart. He puts them on display, openly vulnerable and raw. He allows Lance to see it all. The weariness in his eyes and the weight that hangs heavy on his shoulders. But Lance sees more than that. He sees the strength of his spine as he bears that weight. He sees the spark of fierce defiance and loyalty in those pretty, weary eyes. He sees the set of his jaw and the challenge in the press of his lips. Lance known for his keen eye, and he sees no dissent here. Only raw honesty and tightly wrung anticipation as he waits to be judged. He places his hands atop Keith's thighs. And you stayed? He scoops, arm crossed over his chest, but he doesn't move Lance's. Yeah, I stayed, jerk. Why? He shrugs, looking away, lips pursed to tightly. I had a feeling the guard were behind Shield's disappearance. What better way to get info on them than their rival organization? It's aloof, nonchalant, indifferent to a fault. He might have fooled someone else, but Lance has always seen right through him. He humps, hands him up and down verifies. So that's it, huh? Give up your cop lifestyle and stay to use your connection with me to get what you want. Well, it gets not shrugging, but he sees the settle away in his broad shoulders. Is that why you saved me? He asked, voice lilting and light, but there's a subject something heavier. A real question he desperately needs the answer to. Didn't want your connection to my family resources get severed? Keith's eyes snapped back to Lance. Sharp and narrow, he leans forward slowly. Muscles and chest flexing with predatory grace. He plants elbows on either side of Lance's head, hair falling around them until all Lance can see is Keith. He's not sure how his twitches. When I thought Cheryl died, it nearly killed me, he whispers, right against this. I couldn't go through that again. Lance narrows his eyes, the thin chin just fresh. Fine, challenging. Masking away his hard hammer in his throat. I'm not Cheryl. No, you're not. You're still important to me, you jerk. He kissed him roughly, all tongue teeth. His fingers slide through Lance's hair, tightening and pulling at the roots, holding him in place as he devours him. It's bruising, rough, and steals the breath from his lungs. Hot, heavy, and perfect as he pours himself into the kiss, body rolling like he can quite help himself, moaning deep as tongue fills Lance's mouth. Lance lets him lead, but gives as good as he gets. Tilling his chin and biting back, his hands hold on tightly, fingers bruising against Keith's hips, and nails sinking into the soft flesh of his butt. When they part, they don't go far, panting into a meager few inches between them, eyes lidded and pupils rolling. I've been yours, and only yours. Keith's breaths whistle up, and not a cop for months. So much for being observant. He really is a fool, huh? And what about now? What if Sheer goes back? Hands tightened possessively, fearfully on Keith's hips. You're gonna go too? Keith's face darkens with a frown, something sharp hardened in his eyes. He won't. The girl are working with cops. There's something corrupt going on. And Sheer and Matt were onto it. That's why they got rid of him. And the police turn a blind eye to it. I'm not going back. Neither of us are. That spark of hope feels like it's burning him from the inside out, scorching his ribs and blazing his heart. You're going to stay? The smirk that curls Keith's lips makes his toes curl. His touch gentle as he carves fingers through his hair. As long as you still want me, I'll be here, he whispers. Lance slips his chin out to capture his lips, initiating a kiss by letting Keith take control, lost in his skillful tongue and wicked teeth. He doesn't notice Keith's hand moving away, reaching beneath their pillows. As he pulls away, this himself, drawing the filling bottle of Lulu on his chest. Get to work, McClain. And damn, Lance hates being bossed around. But for Keith, he'll make an exception. He's still loose from the night before, and it doesn't take long before he's moaning around 3 of Lance's fingers. Back arched all pretty, hands planted firmly in Lance's chest, nails biting to his pecs, pushing his hips back against Lance's hand. He's so beautiful. Hair wild, thick brows furrowed, eyes dark and sharp and predatory as he stares Lance down like a challenge. The morning light shines through the window by him, igniting his silhouette and setting him in place. And it's not long before he grows impatient, urged on by Lance's smirk. He bats Lance's hand away, pouring Lou over his skin, hard and flushed and aching in neglect. And gave him several firm strokes before rising on, pressing the head to his entrance and sinking down. A soft groan rumbles Lance's chest as Keith's side shudders out of it. Keith's ran hard and fast, rising on his knees before slamming his hips down. Lance watches when they're joined, enraptured by the kilo bounds of Keith's leaking, but the way is tightening around his abs flex. One of his hands holds onto Keith's hips, and the other slides up his side, palm rested over the flesh-covered scar. He hates that mark as much as he loves it. He hates that he has broken down his walls, and yet he loves that he did. He hates how much he loves this man, and yet loves that he found this. Found him. Someone strong. Someone to be his equal. Someone to stand by his side and make him stronger. Keith's pace is hard, fast, and difficult to keep up, careening them quickly towards the precipice of pleasure, driving them toward the edge with no regard for savoring the journey. It's clear that he wants Lance, and he wants him now. His lips are parted as he pants, chest red and flushed, brows furrowed with concentration, his thighs shake with effort, faltering as he struggles to keep pace. He doesn't protest when Lance rolls them over, pushes back to the sheets, and settling heavy between his legs. He props himself up on an elbow, his underhand gripping Keith's thigh, hot and possessively firm. He doesn't need any prompting to wrap up his arms and legs around him. Angles hooking together as Lance back, nails biting onto his shoulder blades. His hair fans down the sheets, eyes lit as he stares up at it. Lance rolls his hips in a deep, filthy growl, smirking as Keith's head tilts back, eyes roll lips parting what he has. He messes him like that, nice and pretty as the light of dawn brings to life the world around him. Hips rolling in a quick and steady grind, burying himself good and deep in that tight heat. His own breath is loud in his ears, but it's nothing compared to Keith. All the punch-up breaths and needed gas. His desperate whines as his nails bite into Lance's skin. The deep, rumbling moans that sound like they ripped from his throat against his will, melted on his tongue. Lance dips down tasting, to swallow each and every sound, to keep him all for himself. And when he can feel Keith's thighs trembling around his hips, the way his hands shake, the way his breath comes shallow and quick, he reaches between them, takes a hold of his throbbing, and strokes him until it's spilling over his hand. He leans back to watch him all the ways his pretty face twists and tightens and goes to relax in pleasure. Pleasure that Lance gave him, and it tips him over the edge as well. Lance collapses on top of him, breath heavy and body hot. He grunts, but it does complain. Just wraps him up in a loose hug, fingers sliding through his hair as Lance catches his breath against his collarbones. Lance hums, eyes closing, content to lie where he's soft in Keith's butt, and Keith's is cold and stiff between them. Keith eventually gets grouchy about it, shoving Lance inside of him. Get up and clean me up, you animal. Is that in the way you talk to your boss? Lance hubs. I've executed a man for talking to me that way. No, I can talk to my boyfriend like that all I want. And damn that little flutter of his heart and surge of warmth through his veins is hard to deny. Lance gets up begrudgingly and pouts for good measure. Hating and loving the way Keith smirks to him, a knowing look glints in his eyes. He charges to the bathroom to draw a hot bath window, and he doesn't deny the whole boyfriend thing as he goes. 20 minutes later, the giant custom-made tub is filled, and they're both settling. Keith's between his legs and leaning against his chest. Beneath the water, Lance's hands are on Keith's body. It's all absent-minded, addiction that Keith doesn't seem to mind. There's still a mole. Information is getting out. Lance mumbles, thoughtfully. If it's not you, it's not, he says, firm as lips. Lance smiles. I believe you, but this complicates things. Things are already complicated. Lance hums, leaning forward to nuzzle Keith's shoulder, pressing lips to his neck. I think things got a little less complicated. He wraps arms around Keith's waist, and Keith's hands come down over them, securing them and holding them there. Think you can help me find the new mole? Keith tips his head back and smiles, small and confident, eyes hidden. Lance knows that look, knows exactly what Keith's capable of, has seen that look right before a fight, right before they confront Gora men in the streets. It's fierce, a loyal, a storm brewing behind those eyes, setting its sights on anyone who might threaten those he cares about. Lance McClain might be a fool, but his lover is a force to be reckoned with. And that wraps up for part 2 of King of Fools. And we are done. Well, I am done because I'm the only person right here. Hopefully you can see me right here because kind of dark right now and I want to turn on the lights or something there. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching me reading this video or listening if you care about the audio or something like that. But that wraps up that part for the NSFW. So there's a lot of things going on, and it wasn't Keaton now because since Keaton was the undercover cop, because he quit because of the disappearance that happened. And yeah, everything goes insane right there. And this is how they want it to be. This is how they want to solve this mystery or something. Okay, so now that we're done with that fic, now with the NCW one shot, and I have to censor myself so that I don't have to mute me saying the words that whatever I'm saying that. Okay, I think that's all we have for now because I have to. It's really fun when I have to read this thing. It gets a little rowdy if you know what I'm saying. Alright guys, that's the end of me right now, and I'll see you next time for another one shot. But next one is gonna be very, very safe. So there's nothing else I can do about it. Okay, goodbye.